A ship was sailing past a remote island and discovered a man who had been stranded there for several years. They went ashore to rescue the man and noticed he had built 3 huts for himself. They asked him, "What is the first hut?" He said, "That's my house." "Okay, so what's the second hut?" "That's my church where I worship on Sunday." "So what's that other hut over there?" "Oh," he said, "that's the church I used to attend." I recently read Francis Chan's latest book, Until Unity. In the book, Chan makes a strong biblical case for Christian unity. He believes that God's purposes will not be achieved until Christians are united. And he cites the prayer that Jesus prayed recorded in John 17. In verse 1, John writes, "After Jesus said this, he looked toward heaven and prayed." In his prayer for his disciples, Jesus specifically notes in verse 20, "My prayer is not for them alone. I pray also for those who will believe in me through their message, that all of them may be one." In verse 23, he reveals why unity is essential. When he continues in his prayer, "May they be brought to complete unity to let the world know that you sent me." Has it ever occurred to you that one of the primary reasons many people reject Christ is because the people who say that they are his followers can't get along with each other? At this point, it should be noted that Jesus was not praying for uniformity, but for unity. If the prayer was for uniformity, we would all believe exactly the same, we would look exactly the same, act exactly the same in every way. But we don't. Uniformity is neither possible nor desirable. But unity is essential if the gospel is to be preached and believed. So, how can we be unified without imposing uniformity? How do we determine what can be compromised without sacrificing what is essential? Paul's answer is found in 1 Corinthians chapter 2 and verse 2. "For I resolved to know nothing while I was with you except Jesus Christ and Him crucified." In military history, often the most bloody and costly battles were fought to conquer a hill. The Battle of Bunker Hill in the Revolutionary War, the Battle of San Juan Hill in the Spanish-American War, the Battle of Hamburger Hill in the Vietnam War. There are often metaphoric hills that Christians go to battle over, resulting in disunity and division. The most decisive spiritual battle ever fought was on a hill known as the Hill of Calvary. On that hill stood an old rugged cross, where Jesus waged a life and death battle to gain eternal life for us. 3 days after that battle, when it appeared that Satan had won and Jesus had lost, Jesus victoriously was raised from the dead, reassuring us that we too will conquer death and the grave and will live eternally. It is our shared belief in Jesus and Him crucified on Calvary's hill and raised from the dead, and our imperative to spread the good news that unifies us. The message of the crucified and risen Jesus is the essential message that we must not, that we cannot compromise. Through the years, I have learned the wisdom of a word of advice given to me by my dad. Dad cautioned me as I was a young man entering the ministry that when divisive issues are brought up in the church, I should always ask myself, is this battle essential to the gospel? In other words, is this a hill worth dying on? I wonder what impact it would have on the world if all of us who call ourselves Christians stood shoulder to shoulder on the foundations of the gospel and were unified in our mission to fulfill God's will on this earth. That's something to consider.